All right, 4 straight weeks, everybody. 4 straight weeks that we have been out here in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, protesting over the police murder of Andrew Brown Jr. I have been attending all 28 days of these protests, and it's been 4 weeks. Today is Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday, so today will be day 29. Yesterday was day 28. So, yesterday, the news in the morning of Andrew Womble's, quote, decision, unquote, not to charge any of the officers involved in the execution of Andrew Brown was released. And let me just tell you, we had some energy levels that were very, very, very high yesterday. I want to say that, having been here on every single day of the protests and having covered almost every single moment of these protests, we had some very high energy levels on day 2, day 3, day 4. And yesterday was feeling very similar to those day 2, day 3, day 4 energy levels. And I'll get into why I believe that very soon. So we are at the, the public safety, quote unquote, building and the courthouse waiting, and we're getting ready to march. And then we decide to march. And so, again, we're marching through downtown. Now, I want to remind everyone, I feel like day 28 was one of those days that's it's like a reset day. The rules kind of reorient a bit, there's a new playing field. So I want to remind everyone. So the first week of protests, there were no such thing as permits, right? And so we occupied and shut down basically as many roads as we could in the first week. Then what happened was they instituted a curfew. And they used riot police and outside agitators, right? That they just bust into the city to abuse, harass, and attack people that have lived their entire lives in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And then after the curfew was lifted, what they decided to do was say that you need to file permits. So when people started filing permits, the cops then changed the rules once again to say you can only march on a certain side of the road. Okay? So people march on a certain side of the road, and vehicles attempt to kill protesters a couple times, or at least have a disregard for their personal safety. And then so we start defying the permit in the form of taking up the whole road, but still giving the permitted route for where we're planning on going that morning. And then police have been escorting the parade, as people call it. So yesterday we decided, all right, fuck the permit. Right? We're not going to play that game. Right? So we go down to Airinghouse from downtown. And so we had this situation where a car was in the road or something. And they started I don't know exactly what happened here. But as you can see, this car is in a really awkward position where they're right in front of people. Anyway, but everyone's fine. So we're on Airinghouse. And again, I want to remind everyone over the last week or so, we have been taking a very similar route, and we're switching it up here today. And so, again, the numbers are growing. Now, I want you to understand, on Airinghouse, so each branch-out street goes down to residential neighborhoods. So you make a left there, boom, some houses. You make a right over there, boom, some houses. You make a left over there, boom, some more motherfucking houses. Right, so as we're marching down Airinghouse Street, which, again, is the main road of commerce where all the fast food restaurants and other such places are on, people are pouring out of these side streets. People are saying, you know what? We're fucking going out there. We're protesting again. So, again, the energy levels are really fucking incredible. And by 7 o'clock or so, we're almost to the other side of Airinghouse. And, our crowd is growing. It's probably doubled in size. Maybe not double. Maybe 1.5 times in size from when we get from downtown to this location. Now, normally what we would do is turn around and march back downtown. But people were okay, let's hang out in the intersection for a bit, right? Let's, the cops think we're going that way. So why don't we just go this way? And so we decided to just go this way. And we decided to just fuck the permit. No one cares about that stupid shit. All my homies hate the permit. And we just march through the police line and just go down. So again, I want to remind everyone. So there's main roads that have a bunch of the shit. So there's Airinghouse, which is a lot of where the restaurants are. And then there's other roads that kind of attach to it and form an outer kind of circle. There's less business on those roads, but there's still businesses. So either way, we decide to march down here. and take the long way back downtown. And it was amazing. I just have to say the energy of everyone that just, we all decided, like, there was like a moment where people were like, are we going to go this way? Are we going to go that way? What are we going to do? And then everyone was like, you know what? Fuck the permit. Like, we have the numbers. What are they going to do? Arrest 400 people? They're not going to arrest Jack motherfucking shit fuck ass, right? They're not going to arrest dick fuck ass fuck, right? And so another thing about the protests is, I love this kid. Another thing about the protests lately is we've had people bring their cars, right? And the cars came in handy for generating a lot of space between the actual walking segment of the crowd and the police. So we had like actual, like, safety in numbers. So it's not just the people marching. There's like 3, 4, 5, 6 people in cars, and it's pretty incredible. So we go down through Church Street, which is, again, one of the main residential areas. It's a really long street with a lot of fucking houses on it. And we're loud as fuck, and it's great. And so now this is an interesting segment. Now you might... Now, please bear with me. So you might be wondering, okay, let's scroll down. Like, we're scrolling down. Oh, 100 views on my video. Great. I love having 100 views on my video. Okay, 200 views on my video. Hell yeah, we got 200 views on my video. 95,000 views on my video. Whoa. Right, okay, so let me give you some information here. Now, I don't have the entirety of the information, but I'll look into this more so over the course of the next day. So the people that live here, to my understanding, are directly associated with the police department and are also directly associated with far right-wing people in the city of Elizabeth City. They have been directly associated with covered up and defended cases of rape, and so that's, these are just pretty disgusting folks. And I'm going to look into these people a little bit more because, especially for those wondering why that has 100,000 views, Andy No tweeted out my video. And that's pretty fucking interesting. But yeah, so these people participated in a cover-up of rape in Elizabeth City. And so that's why people were protesting outside of their house and basically insulting them and mocking them and harassing them. And I want to be very clear that no one threatened them. No one, vandalized their property. Like, that doesn't exist. That never happened, right? And so, like, it's just incredible that Andy No is just like... They call the people at the home racist. What is happening? Like, these people are just fucking crazy, I just, imagine writing that. Like, okay, they call the people at the home racist. Like, okay, we also call them rapists and, like, murderers and, people that are participatory in cover-ups. It's like, I'm just so, like... But anyway, so I got Andy No who tweeted me. That's another thing off the list, Get Andy No to give me some views. So I want to be very clear. This is a 45-second clip. This whole interaction lasted maybe about a minute and a half. Like, people were just here cursing them out and then they left. So the idea that, like, Andy No is going to tweet this with no context, right? Now, again, the context is here, right? Like, okay. Like, boom, we're here, and then we're here. Right? The context is here. That nothing happened. Right? But in Andy No's world, right? In Andy No's world, by the way, look at that dog. In Andy No's world, this is like, radical Antifa terrorists are descending on innocent white families and, like, harassing them and, like, trying to attack them. In Andy No's world, that's what happened. But in the real world, it was like a minute of people getting, like, fucking screamed at, and then people left. Right. So in my personal opinion, and hey, that's just my opinion, I personally believe in free speech. I personally believe in the concept of public assembly and the right to peaceful protest. Right. And again, there was no vandalism. There was no personal injury. There was no threats of personal injury. If someone covers up rape and someone says, hey, you covered up rape, I don't know what to tell you. I have not, like, if you are offended by that, then hey, maybe you shouldn't have covered up rape. That's all I have to tell you. So I'm going to look into these people a little bit more and get you some more history because Andy No is doing this whole thing. And so that's really entertaining. So after that, we go back downtown. And so we meet back up on the regularly scheduled path. And normally we'd make a right here. As you can see, normally we'd make a right here. But again, that just didn't happen. So, like, okay. So okay, so normally we make a right, and then it's like, okay, well, what if we just didn't make a right? What if we just made a straight instead? And then fucking showed up to this motherfucking bridge and shut this motherfucking shit down. So we arrived at the bridge. Again, very similar to like day 4 energy. We arrive at the bridge and just chill for a couple hours. So I'm there for, I guess, about another 2, maybe 3, maybe it just looks more like 2 hours. And I stopped posting updates because nothing like really happened after a bit. Whoa, man, these threads are long. So yeah, we're at the bridge, and so someone walks over the bridge with a gun. Now, I whipped out my phone, so as you can see, this guy's got a gun on him. Apparently, this is some local racist who was trying to just intimidate protesters. But again, I want to talk about how we had cars in the crowd. And so when we decided to take the bridge, we had a bunch of cars that, blocked the bridge so that other people could not drive into the crowd over the bridge, right? And so that was pretty awesome. And then also, we went to the top of the bridge and we saw that, there's a little bit of coppers over there, but not really. So right next to the bridge is a loft building. And so we had this kind of weirdo who was like staring out of the window with his like gun strapped to him, like just staring out the window, like just like making gestures at protesters, like trying, it was really bizarre character here. Like I had like no idea what was going on. And so we just kind of chill. And then, I go back home, and then there's a bunch of cops just everywhere, and they're doing nothing. And so we're going to see how this develops for tonight, because they might institute a curfew again. It's very, very, very likely that they're going to do so. But again, yesterday was a very, very big moment in these protests. And I want to remind everyone that, it's a marathon and not a sprint, right? The first day of protests, very high energy. The second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, days of protests, very high energy. When the curfew started and rioters came in and started cracking heads and started to try to beat the shit out of people, again, I want to remind you, outside agitators were bussed in by the government. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars bussing in rioters to come and attack the people that live in Elizabeth City, a small town of 18,000 people. They just had bussed in rioters try to crack heads, right? And so that scared a lot of people, right? And so, but, we held the line. We had a protest, some sort of demonstration every single day. From day 10 all the way to day 27, we had some form of resistance every single day. And then that leads to the point where, again, you spend those 3 weeks meeting new people, learning the names of everyone that's been out there, knowing the strengths and weaknesses of everyone that's been out there, knowing what people are comfortable with when it comes to risking arrest, knowing what people are capable of, knowing how people, behave, just being more in tune with your community members. And then that leads to a situation where you have day 28. A lot of people, most people know each other. Most people are comfortable. Most people know how to organize. Most people are like comfortable to like walk up to you and say, hey, you want to do this? And that results in us shutting down the goddamn bridge. And so again, this is what the government is afraid of. If they were to have just instituted the curfew and everyone went home on day 9 and then day 10 through 27 there was no protests, this would not have happened. And so I want to let everyone know, yeah, sure, protests can get a little fizzly in the middle of them. Yeah, sure, protests can lose steam at certain points, right? But it's a marathon, not a sprint. Every single day does not have to have record-breaking turnout and new beautiful tactics, right? All you need sometimes is just to say, hey, we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we got some arrows in our quiver, and we're going to come back in a couple days, and we're going to fuck your shit up, right? And that's all you need to say, and then we shut down the motherfucking bridge. So for those of you that don't know why the shutting down of the bridge is so important, the only way across that bridge, outside of going across that bridge, is a 30-minute detour. And that's just for getting across into that area. Then, depending on where you live, it could be anywhere between a 30 and a 60-minute detour. Right, so when you shut down the bridge, it has a significant effect on the economy of Elizabeth City and the nearby counties, right? So it's like, okay, people can't get home, people can't get to work, oh no, right? So it just really fucks with the entire system of economics. And so that's why shutting down the bridge is such an important thing to do. And so again, I just want to say the protests here are magnificent. I am a huge fan of them. And I can't wait to see what day 29 has in store. But again, 28 straight days of protesting. And the momentum is in an upward trend. And it's only going to be getting more and more interesting. So again, there you go. The people of Elizabeth City will not forget Andrew Brown. The people of Elizabeth City will not let the world forget about Andrew Brown. And whether or not we've got national media attention or not, we're holding the line, right? Because I've been there every single day. Not like, ABC hasn't been there every single day. Wavy, Whiten, CNN, Fox, they haven't been there every single day. I've been there every single day. I've documented every single day's protest, and that's just all publicly available to see online. You can see the evolution from day 1 to day 10 to day 20 to day 29. And I think that that has a lot of value. And I think that, what's going on in the city is beautiful. And I hope that, regardless of what happens with the case of Andrew Brown, I hope that this is going to create a positive, long-lasting effect in Elizabeth City. And I'm looking forward to participating and organizing that future reality. And so, yeah. Another strategy that protests have been doing is Wednesday was the day Andrew Brown was murdered. And so everyone is saying, do not spend money anywhere on Wednesday in the entirety of North Carolina. Now, some people are saying Pasquotank County because that's where we live. Some people just say, you don't need to spend money. I bought groceries the other day for the first time in a month and a half. You don't need to spend money. Right? Buy shit on Tuesday. Don't spend money until next Tuesday. It's not that hard. Right? So if you live in Elizabeth City, if you live in North Carolina, don't spend any money. Don't give those motherfuckers sales tax. If you need something, wait till tomorrow. That's the idea. And so we're instituting other tactics that aren't just marching through the streets, although marching through the streets is the most effective tactic, but we are instituting other tactics, and we are organizing for the long haul. And so, just throwing that out there. That's the news. That's the update. And there you go. Beans and Quest bars. Hell yes. The enthusiasm will come and go in cycles, but you'll keep trending up and you'll form a core group. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing is, you'd have asked me 30 days ago, right, about where I live. I'd be like, it's kind of boring here. I don't, everyone to my understanding is racist. And now it's like, oh shit. There's 70 or so people that I had no idea existed that have been out protesting almost every single day, that I've had conversations with almost every single day. And it's like, oh shit, these people live in my city and we can organize. Right? And so it's like, yeah, that's a huge boon to community organizing. And that's the thing is, again, this is what I've been saying since day one. Justice will not be served when it comes to Andrew Brown Jr. That will not happen. Andrew Brown Jr.'s killers will not go to jail. They will not be fired. They will pass go, and they will collect $200. And we need to understand that. The system is not designed, right, in order to hold killers accountable if they have badges, right? Derek Chauvin was an exception to the rule. It was not a new normal. A lot of people are out there saying, oh, new normal? Question mark? No. That's not a new fucking normal. How stupid are you? They threw one to the wolves to try to convince people like you that the tides were changing. The tides aren't changing. Nothing's changing. The good old boys are still in charge, and you need to realize that. So, again, yes, while we need to demand accountability, transparency, and justice, we need to be honest. We need to be realistic. That's not going to happen. And so we need to have our own horizontally aligned goals, and those should be community organizing, meeting each other, protesting, organizing and, showing up every single day, doing something, keeping people on their toes. That's the stuff. Those are the goals we should be focused on. Because, again, the killers of Andrew Brown Jr., they are entrenched in the system of good old boy corruption. They're not going anywhere. I'm just letting you know. I've been saying this since day one. Andrew Womble said that they're justified. He's telegraphed his moves since the get-go. We knew what he was going to do, right? So we have to channel that anger and that outrage, and we have to use it productively. And I think that we did just that yesterday. I think that yesterday was a magnificent day of the protests. An absolute gigantic win. And that's all I'm saying there. So Bada boom. A great day.